All right, shalom. Shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, we're going to start this video by giving the praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakadash, the City Apostles, the Great Millstone. Shalom to the Lord's elect, starting with the 144,000. All right, we're the brothers out the Great Millstone Atlanta camp. All right, my name is Aratazah, to my left.
Brother Kashkwa.
All right, and yeah, so you see the title of the video. Lord willingly, we'll go into Daniel the 12th chapter, in particular the 11th and 12th verse, you know, to go into what it means, what is it talking about, what do the days, you know, what is that talking about, the 1,290 days and all of that, you know, what is that talking about, what is that prophecy referring to? All right, so we're just going to get into some little bit of history. All right, we're going to maybe touch on Daniel's the 9th chapter, because it really kind of goes hand in hand with that. And you know, we're just gonna go, you know, just gonna go in the spirit. So if you wanna start with yeah, you can start with it.
All right, this is Daniel chapter 12, verse 11, and it says, "And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days."
Right. So when you research it, many of like the Bible scholars, they'll tell you that that's talking about Antiochus, right? Going back to the time of the Greeks, when the Greeks sacked the temple, they basically brought kind of abominations in there. That's what a lot of the Bible scholars tell you, but it ain't talking about that. All right, it's actually, we just basically get a spoiler, just referring to 70 AD.
Right. All
right, with Titus, Vespasian. All right, which would come to pass later. If you want to get
711.
No. Well, if you have something in there, you can. But Matthew's
I have Mark.
Yeah, Mark. What's that?
13.
13. Yeah, you can read that. Yep.
This is Mark chapter 13, verse 14. It says, "But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains."
Right. So he's referring to Daniel 12. Right. Daniel 12 and verse 11 as well as verse 12. That's referring. He was prophesying about 70 AD. All right, so there's two events. It was like we was speaking about prior to the recording, that that happened twice with the temple. Esau went up in there, of course during the time of Antiochus, but then they did it again. All right, during the time of 70 AD. That's what the Lord's prophesying about there in Mark 13. It also says in Matthew 24, I think 24 and 15, I think. All right. So the Lord said that. He said, we see but the prophecy spoken of by the prophet Daniel. He said what?
It says,
flee to the mountains.
Yep. It says, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains.
That's right. Which the mountains will represent the basically the interiors of Africa, which goes to that in I believe Revelation 12, if I'm not mistaken, or 11. Okay, yep. That's right. So that was the prophecy that the Lord was alluding to. So that was, dealing with Antiochus. That came before the Lord was on the scene. So, like the Apostle Harvey, and we had watched the Apostle Harvey video on this too. Just to make sure we was on the right path. But he said, he made a good point. Like, why would the Lord prophesy about something that already happened?
Right.
Antiochus. So evidently, there would be a second time with Esau, all right, this time in the form of Romans, starting with Titus, Vespasian, it would be a second time that they would come and they would, sabotage the temple. All right?
Right.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Just a quick precept to Mark 13 and 14. This is Revelation 12. I'll start at 14 and I'm going to jump down. It says, Revelation 12 and 14, it says, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. So I just really want to paint the first part. It says, and to the woman were given 2 wings, so that's a form of escape. And the woman is speaking about Israel. So skipping down to verse 16, it says, because verse 14 is speaking about 70 AD. Jumping down to verse 16, it says, and the earth helped the woman. And that's what the elder was just speaking about when Yahushua said, flee to the mountains. The earth helped the woman is speaking about the interiors of Africa.
That's right.
And that's where you got to read Babylon to Timbuktu, to understand a little bit more in detail of what that meant.
That's right.
I'll finish it. It says, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
It was the flood was the Roman military.
Vespasian.
Yep. Titus Vespasian. The whole essentially the Flavian dynasty. They put hell on Jake, man. And you mentioned 2nd Ezra 11. It touches on that history too. With the 12 feathers.
Exactly.
And about it mentions about the 3 heads that came back, something like that.
That was the like you said, the Flavian
dynasty. The Flavian dynasty
coming back to haunt.
To haunt Jake, man. And I believe the word Flavian means blonde haired or like yellow haired or something like that. Well, that's Esau. All right. Did you have something?
I'll just get it. 2nd Ezra 11 and 30. I'll just jump straight to the point.
Okay.
It says, and then I saw that the 2 other heads were joined with it. Verse 31, and behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned. Vespasian. So verse 30 is and 31 speaking about the Flavian dynasty, Vespasian. We did a lesson on
we did a video
so
on
if y'all
that.
want to catch that, y'all can. But that was speaking about the Flavian dynasty, and I don't want to jump ahead. Let's keep keep going. Do you want me to jump into Daniel 9?
You can jump to it.
Do you want me to get to the point or start at like?
You get to the point. Like the 27th verse.
Yeah.
Because what's kind of tricky about Daniel 12 is you might read those years or the days rather. Like, what is that? What's the 1,290 days and then the 1,335 days in verse 2? Like what is that? Like, what are those time frames referring to? Well, it connects back with like we're about to read in Daniel's 9th chapter, dealing with the 70 weeks. And there's videos out. Brothers done videos on that too, but we're not gonna go totally into it. But we just hit the main point.
Come. So this is Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. It says, he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease.
Right. So when you deal with this particular prophecy in Daniel 9, it's a 70-week time span, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was a span of 490 years. And when it speaks about the 1 week, this 1 week in particular is referring to a 7-year period. All right, from the time of 66 AD to 73 AD, which is basically the time frame of what the scholars call the first Jewish-Roman wars. All right, it was like we went to earlier. Kashkwala brought out how basically Nero was the Caesar, primarily during the duration of that time. It started in 66 AD to 73 AD. All right, and that when it says that what did it say? He should have a covenant with them.
Yes. verse 27, Daniel 9 and 27, it says, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
Right, which the Romans, in particular, basically the Flavian dynasty, Titus, Vespasian, Domitian, they was in charge, or they was over. Basically, they was the Caesars at that time. You know, and they had certain deals with Jake. You know, they had, you know, Jake would pay taxes. They would let us, you know, do our duty. They let us worship in the temple, but then it said, it's a confirmed covenant for one week.
Yep.
But then go ahead.
It says, and in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease.
Right, in the midst of the week, it's just called sacrifice and oblation to cease. The midst, word midst means middle. So the middle or the midst of that week, which is a period of 7 years, you get 70 AD. Okay, so that's what that's referring to. So we go back to Daniel 12, and it says, you want to read it again?
Daniel 12 in verse 11, it says, and from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up,
right,
there shall be 1,290 days.
Right. So when you plug those numbers in, you look it up, you convert it from days to years, it's roughly about 3.5 years. So this is talking about a 3.5 year period, which is the first half of basically the first Roman Jewish wars, 66 AD to 70 AD, give or take 3.5 years. All right, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, and
You got
this is good information too. So we pretty much that 1 week, like the elder's saying, is starting around like 66. I'm not gonna get to the next part and jump ahead.
Yeah,
the elder will break it down, but we start at 66, and then we spoke about the 70. So in between that time frame was a time frame, you know, when you read the book of Acts, Paul was during the time of Nero, you know, so really Nero popped this off. I think when you read Acts, we're speaking about it off camera. I think Acts the 27th chapter. Correct me. Matter of fact, let me see. I'll be real quick.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Not Acts 27. It's when he spoke with Festus. Acts 25.
Okay.
So Acts 25, that was 60 AD. When Paul was on the scene, when he went to go appeal to Caesar, and what Caesar was he going to go appeal to when he was speaking to Festus? That was Nero during that time, and Nero was the one who was who started the war. You know, which the elder broke down and said that he started the the taxing and stuff. You know, Jake hate tax.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. I got some information here. I just went to Google. You could look the stuff up yourself, but I just put I'm on the Britannica Encyclopedia website. It has it says first Jewish revolt, and it specifically says 66 to 70. They got CE, but 66 to 70 AD. All right, so that's basically what the verse 11 is referring to. All right, about the abomination of making desolate, 1,290 days. That's the first Jewish revolt. All right, and I'll just read a little bit here. It says, this is first Jewish revolt, 66 to 70 AD, Jewish rebellion against Roman rule in Judea. The first Jewish revolt was the result of a long series of clashes in which small groups of Jews offered sporadic resistance to the Romans, who in turn responded with severe countermeasures. It says, in the fall of AD 66, the Jews combined in revolt, expelled the Romans from Jerusalem, and overwhelmed in the pass of Beth Horon a Roman punitive force under Gallus, the imperial legate of Syria. All right, and then it says a revolutionary government was then set up and extended its influence throughout the whole country. Vespasian was dispatched by the Roman Emperor Nero to crush the rebellion. he was joined by Titus, and together the Roman armies entered Galilee, where the historian Josephus headed the Jewish forces. All right, Mr. Josephus is a good, source material going into this topic of the first of the Roman Jewish wars. It gets into detail. It mentions the weapons they use and everything, the paths of travel. It gets real deep, and it says well, then it actually kind of goes into verse 12 a little bit. It says but you know what? Let's keep reading on that because it kind of jumps ahead. So that's verse 11. All right, just the brief history. The first Jewish revolt, or the Israelite revolt rather. That's what it's referring to. All right, basically 6 AD to 70 AD, which that span is about 3.5 years. All right, go ahead.
Verse 12, it says, "Blessed is he that waiteth. It cometh to the 1,305 days."
Right, which is 1,335, if I'm mistaken. And that's referring to the second half of that 7-year period. All right, so from 70 AD to roughly 73, 74 AD. All right, when you plug those numbers in, the 1,335 days, whatever, it's about the same time frame, about 3.5 years. So that's the latter half of that. All right, which is after 70 AD. Now when you read on in this post, it says, I'll jump down to the end. It says, on the 9th of the month of Av, which would be August. All right, it says August 29th. It says in 70 AD, Jerusalem fell. The temple was burned. All right, we just read that. It says, in the Jewish state collapsed, although the fortress of Masada was not conquered by the general Flavius Silva until April of 73 AD. So that's when it ended. All right, the siege of Masada was the last, war you could say, that would end that revolt. So 73 AD is when it ended. So when the scriptures say, "Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the end," basically, blessed are those that endured that time. That was a hellified time. Yahushua told him, "Hey, you see that? Just run, flee, get out of there."
Right.
So for you to endure that, it's basically it's a blessing. Now, I want to read did you have something?
No, you keep going.
Okay, I had another post to kind of that'll back that up. This is from another website, the Stack Exchange. All right, it's basically like a questionnaire site. People ask questions, and somebody put here. Well, the question they ask is days 12, 11 to 12 do the 1,090 and 1,335 periods start at the same time. Now somebody gave an answer here. It basically goes to what we're bringing out. So we jump down. I'll just read this part. It says, the retreat of Cestius got Nero so mad that he sent General Vespasian to side of Palestine to once and for all quell the rebellion of the Jews. We just read that. All right. As far as on the last post we just read, it says this all-out attack began in the spring of 67 AD here. It says, and lasting through to the annihilation of the capital of Jerusalem in the fall of 70 AD, which was the 3.5 years, or the 1,290 days. See, that's just to reiterate, that's the first half, 66 AD to 70 AD. That's that period. Now, you read on, it says, the last stronghold. It says, however, one stronghold in the lower city occupied by the stubborn zealot, it says, refused to surrender. It had supplies that enable it to last for for many more months. It held out for exactly 45 days more, and for no apparent reason, it surrendered, bringing the war's ending to the 1,335 days prophesied in Daniel. See that? So that's the end part, from 70 AD until 73 AD. Now, just to go a little further, it says, next paragraph, it says, this final ending of the war was a respite, a blessing for the people, as the prophetic angel noted. See that? So that was a blessing that essentially the revolt or the wars came to an end, and that was that. That was a revolt. It ended. So verse 12 again is referring to the latter part of the Roman Jewish wars, and it ended with the siege of the siege of Masada. Excuse me. That was what ended it. All right. So essentially, it's Daniel 9:27, but it's more in a condensed form. And we didn't go fully into Daniel 9. Like I said, you watch. We didn't want to make it about two chapters, but when you read Daniel 9, start about 24 on down, it refers to the 70 weeks. Daniel 12, 11 and 12 is referring to that last week. All right, which is a 7-year period.
Yeah.
Basically what it's talking about. All right, but like I said, you research it. The scholars tell you it's talking about
Antiochus.
Epiphany. Yep.
Or Epiphany is the 4th.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is not. We just read where Yahushua prophesied. He referenced Daniel. The prophecy. This particular prophecy he was talking about.
So why would he be, like the elder said, why would he be talking about Epiphany is the 4th?
Exactly.
When that already had happened.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about what was to come.
Mm-hmm.
Because Yahushua was a prophet himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty much putting the people up on game when this happens. Dip.
Yeah.
And
you got something there, man.
Now that we pretty much went through the full week and got the understanding of the days,
Mm-hmm.
brief, but there's a lot of history that happened in that week. Or I'm speaking biblically,
mm-hmm.
in those 7 years, because like we said, it started with Nero.
Mm-hmm.
What came after Nero? Galba, Otho,
mm-hmm.
Vitellius, Vespasian. So you had the year of the 4 emperors
mm-hmm.
after that.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was happening during the Jewish revolt, or
mm-hmm.
like the Israelite revolt.
Yeah.
So they were pretty much Rome was fighting on 2 fronts,
mm-hmm.
figuring out who the hell is going to be the Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
And really, because Otho, he ended up killing himself
mm-hmm.
anyway, because he got into a dispute with Vitellius,
mm-hmm.
which all was triggered by who?
Mm-hmm.
Vespasian.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, Nero had Vespasian as a general from the jump. So all of this was Vespasian's plan to go ahead and take out the Israelites until he got into the power seat, and that's when the 70 AD hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had sons with him as well, Domitian and Titus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get the Ark of Titus and all
mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
when they actually destroyed
Mm-hmm.
during the abomination of death, which make it desolate.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's verse 20. Daniel 9 and 27 is a lot of history.
Yeah, a lot of history in that one verse. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'll finish it off.
Okay, now you got it.
Daniel 9 and 27, it says, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. In the midst of that week, he shall cause the sacrifice of the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate."
Mm-hmm.
Which that word desolate means to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
It says, even unto the consummation, in that determination shall be poured upon the desolate. And that determination poured on the desolate, who was the desolate? The Israelites. So when it says that the determination shall be poured upon the desolate, is poured upon the Israelites at the end of that verse.
Yep. Yeah, so that's Titus Vespasian. All right, during the time, again, 70 AD, when he was brought out, they, sabotaged the temple, ransacked it, defiled it, spoiled it. Like you said, on the Ark of Titus, they have a carving of it, but they showed them carrying the menorah out. They showed, carrying all types of bowls and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So that was the prophecy. So just to kind of overview, recap, James 12 verses 11 and 12 is just this verse, but just in a more condensed form. But the angel is telling Daniel, he gives these days, and these days, it kind of may throw you off, but it's talking about the same thing. Right. The first half and then the second half. So that's what Yahweh Shah is prophesying about. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's really pretty much it. I mean, we can keep going. It's all types of history. Yeah. We'll basically be reading articles all night, basically. Did you have anything else? I mean,
I can end it off with, because it's 2 Ezra 11. And
yeah, we could finish with that. That's pretty much the point.
I just go down to, I'll apply this.
Okay.
2 Ezra 11 and yeah, I'll start at 41.
Now I think about it, I think we probably should have went live. But it's all good. It's gonna go up anyway. I just thought about that. Yeah, she probably should have went live. But now you got it.
I'll start at verse 40. 2 Ezra 11 and 41. It says, "For the earth has thou not judged with truth." Verse 42, I'm applying this. It says, "For thou hast afflicted the meek." And the reason I'm bringing this out is because of what Daniel 9 and 27 said at the end. It poured out on the desolate. The desolate that was poured out was the Israelites. And we know from the book that Israelites are the meek of the earth. So it says, "Thou hast hurt the peaceable," again, the Israelites.
Yep.
"Thou hast loved liars and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm." Yeah, cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm, which pretty much you destroyed Jerusalem. We had got the petition or the decree from going to, when you read Ezra, from Cyrus to rebuild the temple, and then you go and read Nehemiah, the book of Nehemiah, which was rebuilding the wall. He tore all that down.
Yep.
It says it has cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Which, shoot, man, we were in Daniel 9. And Daniel 9 speaks, you have to go into the book of Ezra to understand. If you're reading Daniel 9, verse 24, all the way into 27, you got to go to the book of Ezra. You got to go to the book of Nehemiah. You got to go to these books to understand everything. And then it says, verse 43, "Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty." So pretty much, all this that we're reading about what Esau did to us, he's got to pay for. Destroying our temple, taking our goods, and really destroying us as a people as well. That's all I have.
Yep. Yeah. So that's pretty much the point. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward. All right.
Nothing to do with Epiphany.
Yeah, nothing to do with that's different. That's a different abomination that make it desolate. That was the first one, but then this one in particular is referring to the second time it happened. All right, which is still Esau, but in the form of the Romans. All right. So if you had anything else, we could sign off. All right. So Lord was an edifying video. Like I said, you could research it on your own. Of course, you go deep into it, go into the history. of course, definitely going to 2nd Ezra 11 and 12, and then go back to the Daniel's 9 and get into the 70 weeks prophecy, because it's all talking about the same thing. All right, so yeah, man. So with that, Lord willing, you was edified. We're gonna sign off, giving no praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Hakadosh, the City Apostles, the Great Millstone. Shalom to the Lord's elect, and Lord willing, to the next video, we're gonna say Shalom.